All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Well, before we get into my nasty crash, let's talk about the Eagles in Florida and out in California. We'll start with the Southwest Florida Eagles. E23 is branching, looking beautiful, doing fantastic. So everything's going really good there. Couldn't have had a quieter year. I haven't even been watching that camera as much as I've been watching the Jackie and Shadow. So let's get into them because they've had another brutal weekend of weather. Very high winds, snow, sleet. It was nasty. But it does look like we might be on a pip watch. So let's hope. Let's hope they have success this year. I tell you, Mother Nature sure has given them a raw deal the last couple of seasons. So, but we could be, hopefully, that is pipping that we're seeing, and hopefully we're going to have some eaglets in that nest this year. All right, well, let's get into some e-bike stuff. We'll start with my crash. I rolled out the rad. Rolled out means I was riding a wheelie and I went over backwards. Unfortunately, I've never rolled out a wheelie in my entire life, and about to be 58 years old, you would think I would have avoided that for the rest of my life, but I guess somebody thought I needed to experience that. It wasn't fun, it was nasty. You know, the rad sits pretty high off the ground. You know, because I keep my seat whether I have a pedal extension. Now, before some of y'all say, you can't ride wheelies on an Expand 5. Yes, you can. With 35 amp controller and the highest power setting and the Huntsman tires, you can ride wheelies all day long. I don't recommend them. It's not the easiest bike to ride wheelies on. I never got good on it. So it just, you know, because it's a step through and you don't have a top bar, it's hard to judge the height of the wheelie. So it was a nasty crash. I was very lucky though. I landed on my left side of my ass, which is very blue, and I got some road rash on that side as well. Of course, elbow, lower back, knee area. But the worst injuries were on my right side. I sprained my ankle and I sprained my knee. My ankle's still not 100%, and it probably won't be. It's been 2 weeks since the crash. The bike survived very well. The fender's scratched up. The rear rack's been scratched up where flipped it all the way up and onto the rear rack. So when the rack hit the ground, it knocked me off the bike, which was probably a good thing. I didn't need the whole thing coming around on top of me. What happened is when I let go or got knocked off, of course the wheel turns to the right on that bike and it started to come back down. And when of course with the wheel turned all the way to the right and it starting to fall to the right, that tire hit and bounced it back over onto the left side, which smashed the mirror. But the mirror actually saved the display, the brake lever, stuff like that. There's a teeny small scratch on the left side brake lever, but that's it on that side. The mirror saved everything, the display, everything. So very lucky, very lucky for the bike to not be more damaged, and very lucky I wasn't more damaged. So, I mean, you ride these bikes long enough, I guess you're going to have a wreck. I would have rather my wreck not been my own fault, but, you know, my ego was pretty beat up too. Wife was very upset at me. So, but I'm gonna be fine. My ankle's feeling a lot better. I'd probably say a couple more weeks, it'll be 100%. All right, so we've got a bike coming. I don't know when it'll be here. I can't say too much about it. It's a bike that's got kind of the trend that's been going on for a while. So for the last year or so, it's going to have a 60-volt system. It's not a wired Freedom, and it's not the bike from the company that's had that frame for like 6 years that wired copied their frame. And now that company's coming out with a 60-volt version of that bike as well. You know, the thing about that wired Freedom is they would have not sold any of them bikes if they came out with a 48-volt or a 52-volt system. You know, you throw that 60-volt. I didn't even think the bike was that nice when it first came out. It was a Wicked, but it had all that power. So, but I can't say a whole lot about the bike that's coming. I am going to say it's a motorcycle style e-bike. It's kind of my style that I like best. I just feel safer on a motorcycle style e-bike, y'all. You know, I just feel like I have more control. I just feel safer on them. You know, they just, I think you're lower to the ground. I think that gives you that better sense of security. But it's going to be a 60-volt system, and it's going to have a pretty good sized motor. It peaks at a pretty good output. It's full suspension. It's got a 25 amp hour battery with an option for a second battery. And the second battery option also includes the battery blender. And I'll probably go that route eventually, probably be next year. This bike that's coming is something different, something unexpected. So we'll have a first look and then some reviews on it. You know, this is what, until the government steps in and does something, that's how these new companies, it's the only way they can get in the market, is if they have big motors, big power. And, you know, otherwise, there's too many people with established companies that they like. It's like this Rev 1 from Ride One Up. You know, now they have 3 colors, like a sandstone that's beautiful. You know, this bike is still, to me, one of the nicer motorcycle style e-bikes you can get. And it has good power. It's not the most fastest accelerating e-bike, but, you know, it'll run you up to 35, 36 miles an hour all day long. I don't know how they do it. You know, supposedly the controller's only 28 amps. What I can tell you is this motor doesn't ever really cut off. It starts pulsating. And you just get power, and basically on flat ground you can run up to 35, 36 all day long. And with a fresh battery you can get a little higher than that. So, but until either the government or these TxDOT in these cities cracks down, and I don't mean banning, e-bikes shouldn't be banned. You know, the thing about California is they have a lot of laws on e-bikes, but I don't see anybody ever enforce it. You know, hell, I see Sir Onster riding by the police all the time. So I just, you know, in Texas, there's not a lot of, you know, just not a lot of crackdown on bikes, e-bikes. You know, they let the guys ride, pretty much so. You know, whatever they want. As long as you're not being a hoodlum, they don't mess with you. I always kind of thought riding wheelies was being a hoodlum, even though I still try to do it, or do it. Although I promised my wife I wouldn't ride any more wheelies, so wheelies are over. But, you know, that's going to be the trend you're going to see, are bikes with a lot of power. Eventually, you're going to have bikes with 72-volt systems. That's next. So, you know, we're already to 60. I've talked about this in prior videos, where we're heading with this, unless there's a crackdown. And even if there is a crackdown, people are still going to buy these e-bikes. So, you know, nobody's going to stop buying these bikes with all this power if they're available. So, you know, I mean, what are they going to stop trying to? What are they going to say? Suron can't sell bikes anymore? No, they're not. You know, you got a lot of companies coming out with Suron copies now. I rode a couple of them at the Electrify Expo down in Austin. So, but I got very lucky. My wreck could have been a lot worse. I could have got really hurt. I did have my helmet, my gloves on, but you know, for me to land on my butt was extremely lucky. I really don't know how I twisted my right ankle and my right knee. Maybe, you know, I think maybe the bike, when it went to the right, caught my leg, or maybe the ground caught it. But I got very lucky, y'all. So, especially at my age, I could have got really hurt bad. All right, well, you know, these bikes are just getting faster and more powerful. What I'm going to tell you is, if you want a powerful e-bike, you better hurry up and get it. Because once people start getting seriously hurt, then all this is going to have a big crackdown on it. Nobody's gotten seriously hurt on an e-bike in a while that I've read about or seen on the news. Now, I did see in Biscayne, Florida, where there was a wreck with an e-bike and a regular bicyclist, but that regular bicyclist did not have a helmet on. And that regular bicyclist, unfortunately, was killed. And now in Biscayne, Florida, there's a 60-day ban on e-bikes until they decide what they're going to do. I don't know. The other rider should have certainly had a helmet on. And there's not really much info on the actual wreck, other than that there was a wreck. So, all right, everybody. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Hopefully, Jackie and Shadow have some eaglets here real soon. And hopefully, E23 keeps doing as good as E23 is doing. Leave me a like. Please subscribe. Leave me some comments. And we'll see you on next week's ride. Y'all have a good one, everybody.